Happy Thanksgiving from sunny South Florida. Here are the selections for Thanksgiving Day, November the 25th. At Calder, I have several selections, and I'm also going to be playing some races around the country, so I'll give you the highlights there. So let's start off with the local track. The opener at Calder is a maiden claimer going a mile 70 yards. I like Wireless Macho. He's got the top rider, he's got a double buyer advantage, and better yet, he's got early speed, class drop. So Wireless Macho in the first. Pass on the second. And the third is my bet of the day. It's a maiden claimer going 5.5 furlongs. My pick is Just for Frank. He goes out for the Frank Calabrese stable, which makes the name appropriate. He debuted in Maiden Special Company at Arlington, and he was a good fourth when sprinting on the turf. They then tried him 2 turns on the turf, and that wasn't nearly as good, although he did contest the pace for 6 furlongs before he surrendered. Again, that was in Maiden Special Company. Today he drops in for the Selling Frank ranks for the first time. He goes for Ron Fascio's barn, which is 30% angle, and he's the lone maiden special weight dropper in the field. So I'll go with Just for Frank in the third, $15 to win. The fourth, I like Babylon Rich. It's a non-winners of 3 lifetime, going a mile 70 on the main track. Although he has lost in 3 lifetime company, his record overall is 10 starts, 2 wins, a second and a third, and that's much better than anybody he's running against today. But most importantly, was claimed last out by Chris Gratis, who wins 29% overall and has an excellent 24% first off the claim. Top rider Manny Cruz takes the mount, and he's a good 36% winning when he's riding for the Gratis barn. So it's Babylon Rich in the fourth. I'll pass the fifth. In the sixth, we're on the turf. It's a claimer non-winners of 2 lifetime. I like Awesome Dream. I think he'll be a bit of a price because he has a little bit of darkened form. If you go back to June, he was a late running 5th in his turf debut, beaten just over 5 lengths. He then came back and was 2nd in a photo finish and earned a nice buyer of 79. Off of that effort, he was entered in the Grade 2 Virginia Derby, and even though he was 50 to 1, he was right up on the pace for the first 4 furlongs before he gave it up. Trainer has a good 20%, $3 ROI on second off the layoff. Awesome Dream in the 6th. In the 7th, I like Flying Trey. It's an allowance going a flat 1-turn mile. He's 2 for 13 at the 1 mile trip, which isn't great, but then you compare it to the rest of the field, which is a combined 3 for 20 at the 1 mile trip. That gives him an advantage. He's won 3 of his last 4. He's in peak form. There's a lot of speed in the race to set up his late running style, so I'll take Flying Trey in the 7th. In the 8th race, it's 6 furlongs, an optional claimer. And on paper this appears to come down to 2 horses, It Tain't Over and Green Monster. If you've been following my selections, I liked It Tain't Over last week, and he scratched out of that race to what appears to be a tougher race today. He's lightly raced, he's coming off a layoff, and he goes for Marty Wolfson for the first time, which is 31% angle. He's got go-to rider Jermaine Bridgman, that makes him the pick. It is a little bit interesting that my second choice, Green Monster, also is coming off a layoff, also for Marty Wolfson, but I'll go with It Tain't Over. The 9th and the 10th races, I'll take a pass on them, so that'll be it for Calder. It's opening day at the fairgrounds here Thanksgiving Day. I like 5 different horses, but the horse I like the most at the fairgrounds is in the 6th race, which is on the turf. It's a 1 mile claiming event. I like Attempted Humor. He's first off the claim for Steve Asmussen, which is a 22% angle. And he won, at least he was stakes placed for Todd Pletcher before, taken by Asmussen. If he's even a shadow of himself, I think he wins this for fun. Churchill Downs is coming down to its last weekend. I like several races there. My top 2 picks there are in the 8th race, a 6 furlong allowance sprint. I like Latigo Shore, triple the investment here. In 5 of his last 6 races, he was in graded stakes company. Twice he was stakes placed, including at the grade 1 level. Today, he drops down into allowance. The last time he was in an allowance race, it was a romp by open daylight. So I'll take Latigo Shore in the 8th. In the 11th, it's the feature, the Grade 2 Falls City Handicap. Distinctive Dixie was my pick on the Breeders' Cup undercard. Went off at 7 to 1 and paid $16.40. Today, he looks much the best. He's the lone speed going 9 furlongs on the main track. He's 9 to 5. He loves the Churchill track. So I'll take Distinctive Dixie in the Grade 2 Falls City Handicap. At Aqueduct in New York, it's supposed to be a rainy day, so I'll feature some of the main track events. I like 3 races in particular. In the third race, Hot Minute is probably the bet of the day, although he won't be much of a price. He's 2 to 5 on the morning line. 2 to 5? Wow, he better be pretty good. He goes for Rudy Rodriguez. He's got a bull at work. Dominguez is on board, who's a 41% rider. It's hard not to go with him. In the sixth race, I like a long shot, 15 to 1, Ruffino. He's a genuine horse for the course and for the distance at this 1-turn mile. He's 4 for 5 at Aqueduct. In fact, the only time he lost was coming off a 5-month layoff. He's 6 for 8 with a second and a third at the distance. He loves the off-going, so if it is rainy, that'll be to his benefit. He may just steal it, but if somebody else wants the pace, he can go from just off the pace. So that's Ruffino in the Tensions Prince Stakes, the 6th race at Aqueduct. In the 8th race, the feature Grade 3 Fall High Weight Handicap, I like Emma's Posse, who's also a bit of a price at 6 to 1. 6 of the 9 runners lined up in the gate today will want the front end. That should set it up for an informed closer. That would be Emma's Posse. So Emma's Posse in the 8th, the Grade 3 Fall High Weight Handicap. And finally, I like some picks at Hollywood Park. The pick of the day at Hollywood is in the first race, where Riveting Reason is going to break his maiden. What's interesting about that is twice, not once, twice, he's been Grade 1 placed. His last start, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile, where he led into the stretch before being run down by my pick of the day, Uncle Mo. Today drops back into face 4 other rivals in a maiden special weight. He outclasses these by a ton. He's listed at 6 to 5 on the morning line. I'd be happy to get 1 to 5. In the 5th at Hollywood, it's on the turf. It's a sprint at 6 furlongs. I like She's Not a Lion. He's already run at this non-winners of 2 optional allowance claiming level, but he gets to run in the conditions again today because he's going to run for the prize tag. There's a lot of front runners in there. Sets up his late run. He's got Rafael Bejarano. I'll take She's Not a Lion in the 5th at Hollywood. And finally, in the 7th at Hollywood, the Grade 3 Vernon Underwood at 6 furlongs on the main track. Cost of Freedom is listed at even money on the morning line. Well deserving. He's the lone speed. He's the inside speed. He's won here before. He's a graded stakes winner. Cost of Freedom, long gone in the feature of the Grade 3 Vernon Underwood. We'll come back tomorrow, see how we did not only at Calder, but around the country. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.